What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 10, The Legion of Doom. So, whenever the opening narration starts off with, "My name is Damien Dark, and I teamed up with the speedster Earbarthon," that's all I need to hear. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I'm sold, this episode is going to be great, I'm looking forward to it, and it was. Just a brilliant move to have a more Legion of Doom episode, or centered episode. Just the fact that we get to see more about them and their team dynamic and everything going on there, it was a lot of fun. So, since this episode is mainly focused on the Legion of Doom, let's first talk about the legends and what's going on there, because it's a bit shorter. Mainly what happened in this episode was they have the medallion. Martin goes to his daughter, I want to say Lily, I hope I'm right, but he goes to his daughter for help, and of course that sparks the whole she's a time aberration debate, and is it right to keep her in the timeline, and what they should do about it. And of course Mick Rory. The one issue I do have with this is when Stein is talking to everybody and he's like, nobody tell her that she's a time aberration, he looks specifically at Mick Rory. He's like, what are you looking at me for? And I'm like, okay, so they're setting up like a joke here, like he's not going to be the one that tells her. And then just so easily she's sitting there talking about fake food or something. He's like, oh, fake food for a fake person. I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah, he's kind of dumb. Yeah, he doesn't think straight, but not even he's dumb enough to do this, right? It just seemed kind of forced into there so we could have a moment where she finds out she's a time aberration and she's upset about it. And of course Martin has to come to her and explain, look, I didn't originally want kids, but now that I do, I realize it's what I wanted all along, and that whole spiel. So that was the only part that kind of, I don't know, it just felt like it was so forced in there. It was such a forced line of fake food for a fake person. Like, I just wish they could have done it in a bit better way. In a less one character makes such a slip up of words way. Like maybe she overhears something, or maybe Gideon actually says something about her being a time aberration because she just, that's what Gideon does. She's a time shift. She doesn't know any better. I don't know. That was the only issue I have with this. The rest of it, though, was mainly focused on the Legion of Doom, and they're trying to get the information out of Rip Hunter, and it's mainly Damien Dark and Malcolm Merlin, because for some reason Eobard keeps speeding away, and they're like, what's going on? Well, we start to find out that apparently there's some sort of, I guess, Flash Reaper. That's what it seems like. And it's trying to get Eobard because Eddie killed himself, so he shouldn't be in the timeline. So the fact that he's still running around, this Reaper-type creature is coming for him. And it's pretty much the physical representation of death for the Speed Force, I guess. So it's interesting that they decided to have this going on while everything else is going on. And now we know why he wants the Spear of Destiny, so he can change reality and make it to where he does exist again. So I love how this is being handled, and I do have to wonder if this has anything to do with Jay Garrick from last season, not Jay Garrick, Hunter Zolomon Zoom from Flash last season, because I don't know, just something about the way they designed this Reaper Flash. He kind of looks a little bit like how Hunter Zolomon looked when the time race were taking him away. It looked like his face had kind of disintegrated a little bit. That's what this character looks like. I don't know if he's going to be the representation of it or what, but it really doesn't have much personality. Like, it's just a screaming creature that runs around and can sense the Speed Force. So it's just a good setup, though, because now we know the bad guys also have their own issues they have to deal with. But I love the team dynamic, though, between Malcolm Merlin and Damien Dark. Just perfectly set up, and it makes me wish that they had had more of that in Arrow, because now knowing that both of them are kind of picked out of their own time, all of that stuff, it doesn't feel as genuine as 2016 Damien Dark versus 2016 Malcolm Merlin. But it does bring up the question, because Damien Dark was taken out of whatever era, I think he was in the 19th century or 20th century. I can't remember where he came from, but because he was taken out of time, if he doesn't get replaced soon, that feels like the timeline should change. And on top of that, if he gets killed here, that means he can't go back, which means he doesn't exist anymore because an older version of himself was killed. How is that going to change? Obviously, Laurel is going to be alive still because Damien's the one who killed her. But how does this affect Oliver and Team Arrow and all of that stuff? If none of what Damien did affects them, how does that change their story? So I kind of feel like they're not going to do that much of an overhaul for Arrow to kill off Damien Dark or to make sure he doesn't return back to his own timeline. Or, if he does, what does he do with this new information that he's going to die in 2016? Does that mean he actually manages to beat Oliver because he saw his future? I don't know, just so many interesting questions there. I'm assuming that at the end of this, they're going to capture him, erase his memory, and put him back where he belongs. But I would like to see them possibly take a chance and maybe everything on Arrow changes because of what happens in Legends of Tomorrow. I'd love to see that, mainly because they did set this up a little bit differently. Legends of Tomorrow is now on Tuesdays instead of on Thursdays, so now it comes before Arrow. I'd like to see if that's the reason why. Maybe they set it up like this because what's going to happen here is going to affect what happens in Arrow. And so if we see something that happens on Thursday affected what happened last night, it doesn't work out as well. So I don't know. It's just kind of a theory I'm throwing out there. I don't know if it's going to be true or not, but it's a great setup, and I love what they're doing with it. On top of that, we also have Rip Hunter, who's being tortured, and they find out somehow Damien Dark knows he has something embedded in his tooth that he takes out, and it's like a cereal box number in a bank or something like that. So they go to this bank. It's in 2025. They go there. They try to get Rip Hunter to open the bank for them, but he can't because he doesn't remember anything still. And so finally they decide to go in themselves, just Malcolm and Damien, and then they shoot up the place. They open it, and then that's when here comes Eobarthon, and then they trap him in there. That's when they learn all this information about the fact that he's not supposed to exist, and they keep him in there, and then they help him escape this time, or not time wraith, whatever it is. I'm going to call it a Flash Reaper because that just sounds pretty cool. So they trap him in there with the Flash Reaper, but then they help him escape it. So now they're kind of more of a team instead of just Eobarthon ordering them around while they get angry at him and they get angry at each other. So it feels like the team dynamic for the evil group has fixed itself, sort of, which means a lot of bad for our legends, but it was just fun to watch them interact. On top of that, though, they also get, apparently, Rip Hunter stored all of his memories on this drive. So they get these memories, and you see Eobarthon's working with it, and he says, you can change certain things about him, you can fix some of his issues. And like, oh, what, the fact that he bites his nails? And then we see, all of a sudden, 1776, we see Rip Hunter walking into General Washington's tent, pulls out a gun, and shoots. So I'm getting the feeling that Eobarthon changed Rip Hunter to be evil. I don't know how. I don't know how you managed to change that. But somehow he did, and I'm guessing that's going to be at least part of this second half of the season, is going to be the Legends trying to stop Rip Hunter and the Legion of Doom from changing history, or I don't know what they're trying to accomplish by shooting George Washington. What would that accomplish? I can't think of anything. But I don't know. It's a great setup. I love what they're doing right now with the show. It's so much fun to watch. It's just sometimes it does get confusing. The thought of, okay, so this guy, his ancestor died, which means he shouldn't exist, but the fact that he has a speed force means he does exist because he's running away from the fact that he can't be existing, and it does get confusing. And even the characters are like, that's just way too confusing. But it also kind of makes sense if you don't really think about it on a deep level. If you really try to think about it in depth, you're not going to get it, because who can explain time travel very well? But if you think about it from okay, suspend your disbelief, this is a time travel show, it's a lot of fun to watch, and it's a lot of fun to watch just the characters' interactions. So, yeah, great show, great episode, looking forward to what they're going to do, well, ironically, tonight. I won't be watching that episode, unfortunately, because I'm doing this review. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode. I want to know what they're going to do next, and hopefully they keep it up. So Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know, we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Legends of Tomorrow reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.